The Italian Wine Podcast is introducing a new donation drive this month. It's called Why Am I a Fan? We are encouraging anyone who tunes in on a regular basis to send us your 10-second video on why you are a fan of our podcast network or a specific show. We will then share your thoughts with the world with the goal of garnering support for our donation drive. Italian Wine Podcast is a publicly funded, sponsor-driven enterprise that needs you in order to continue to receive awesome free wine edutainment 7 days a week. We are asking our listeners to donate to the Italian Wine Podcast by clicking either the GoFundMe link or the Patreon link found on ItalianWinePodcast.com. Remember, if you sign up as a monthly donor on our Patreon, we will send you a free IWP t-shirt and a copy of the Wine Democracy book, the newest Mama Jumbo Shrimp publication.
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today we travel to the South Tyrol, Alto Adige, to meet my guest, Eros Teboni, a certified sommelier who in 2018 was awarded Best Sommelier Worldwide. Good morning, Eros. Thanks for being my guest today. How are you? And is it a beautiful day where you are?
It's the sun is shining, the weather is fine. It's Friday, so I am looking forward to the weekend. So I am pretty relaxed, but excited too.
Yeah, that's a good thing. The sun's shining here too. Eros, I'd like to go back to the beginning. Can you tell us where you're from? I know you're from a beautiful wine region, Alto Adige, Sud Tirol. And tell us about your childhood, where you were born, where you were raised, and how you came to love wine.
Right. So we need few days of everything, every explanation. But yes. So long story short, we are speaking about Alto Adige. Of course, I'm from there. A beautiful wine region. So, of course, focused or based on white wines, red wines too, but are more or less a little bit more than the 30% of the quantity of the surface. And I started in our wine shop. And the wine shop is located in Brenner. It's one of the most northern wine shop, I think, from Italy. And we have, of course, a small wine import-export. We are speaking about Italian wine, Piemonte and Tuscany, of course. And we import a little bit of Austrian wine, like Wachau, like Kremstal, Kamptal, the typical Riesling and Grüne Veltliner wine regions. And I started with 16, 17. And I work in the shop. I clean the bottles more or less, and my father, of course, give me, or how can I say, he give me this sickness. It's not like a sickness, a passion, of course, but can turn sometimes in a sickness too. About wine loving, of course. And then I started the University of Enology, and then I quit it because after the sixth harvest, what I did, because I was, or it was clear in my mind that for me was better to speak about wine, sell wine, communicate the wine, and not to do the wine. So I was a better speaker than a maker. If we can explain that like this.
Oh, that's really interesting. And just so our listeners have a clear idea, Brenner, we're talking about virtually on the Austrian border in German-speaking South Tyrol, German, Italian, but very much once an area that was part of Austria for many centuries, and which, as you say, is a really fabulous wine region, one of my favorite areas for those wonderful white wines, but also, as you say, for some very notable breads. So you grew up really with wine all around you, with the wine shop, with dusty bottles on the shelves, and that sort of seeped into you. And you learned that your vocation was to talk about wine, to communicate about wine.
Yes, exactly. And then I started to make some small and short, some really small tasting with the clients of the customers of our wine shop. And then I moved in Europe to see and to work in several. I do my first examination, sommelier examination in Austria, my diploma, and then I went to the Court of Master Sommelier, where I achieved in I think 2016 or 2015 the first international level, the diploma of the 2 of 4 steps to become a master sommelier. And now I am looking forward to the next examination. I think next year I will try to make the advanced level, because if you start to study wine, every day that your knowledge is really really small. And then I am always excited to know more, to know more people, to know more wine region, and to, of course, and why not, to try to make the next step the advanced sommelier of the Court of Master.
Okay, so actually, I think this is very important for our listeners to know that the profession of a sommelier is a rigorous one, whether one is an ice sommelier in Italy or going through the Court of Master Sommeliers. It demands study, learning about wine regions all over the world, constant tasting, and really honing knowledge. So it's a really high profession, and I guess the top of that profession would be becoming a master sommelier.
We will see, because actually it was my dream. But now, of course, fortunately, all the companies are going really really good. I'm really happy. And so I have to find sometimes, a lot of times actually, to find to be able to keep on learning, because actually I learn so 4 hours, 6 hours a week, and for to prepare myself for the advanced level is of course not enough time. But yes, a big thing what I can do with my companies, and what I already do, is to go and visit a lot of producers, to see the wine region, to speak with people who know more than you about different wines. Because if you want to learn something, my opinion, is to absorb information from people that know a lot more than you. So then you can increase your knowledge.
Absolutely. Now, Eros, in 2018, you achieved an incredible award when you were named Best Sommelier Worldwide. An amazing achievement. Tell us about this. Tell us about the award. Tell us about what you had to do to win this award.
It's a normal classical competition. You have to be able to pass several examination. Of course, theoretical examination, oral examination, blind tastings, correction of wine list, be able to serve in exactly it was 8 minutes time to serve in a gala form a bottle of wine, to speak about them, to speak about all the wine region, what your examinator, the judges, all the question what the judges will tell you. And of course, I think you need I think a lot of luck, because should be your day, exactly your day, should be written in your destiny. But I learned in my short career that if you learn a lot, you increase the level of the luck that you can have. So, and I think, of course, and communication. I have a lot of friends in Europe that actually are doing example, are preparing now for the world competition of ASI, and every time really good to speak with them, and to be able to confront yourself with them, and it's a connection and it's really important.
So this was like the Olympics of wine tasting, a competition, and you came out on top. That must have been an incredible experience.
Yeah, my idea it was to, or my idea was to become in the top 15, and then after the second day, I was in the top 3, and then we went together on the final, and it was a great day.
And that was in Rome.
In Rome, of course, in Rome.
Okay. Was it fun?
But it was all right. I was super nervous from the 7 o'clock from the first day till the second day at night. I was all the time super mega nervous.
I bet. Now, Eros, we think of sommeliers as having incredible palates, and that's part of what you need to have in terms of not only being able to taste, but in being able to communicate taste. Do you consider yourself a super taster? Is that essential to be a super taster?
I make you different examples. So I think I am quite a good taster, and in this job, in this part of the wine world, if we speak about sommeliers, of course you need a little bit of talent. So I think between 5 and 10% maybe. The rest is the tasting, understanding, learning first and then tasting with people that know more than you all the time is really important. And because if you I have now I try to make you a short example, a short a short story, a short idea. If we are playing in football, right? And there are these people, these freestyler, that are able to make super stuff with the ball. Are you understanding what I mean?
I do, yeah.
Exactly. So if we let's compete them like a blind taster, so super talented, with the knowledge to make some tricks with the ball, and as comparison, we take Ronaldinho, a really, really good and important. It was a legend at my time, but okay, I am still young. But now, example, I don't know, another great Messi. Of course, the freestyler will win the competition because super talented and super great. But who bring a difference in the football world? A super freestyler or legends like Ronaldinho and Leo Messi. And why? Because you don't need just to be super talented. So I don't want to be arrogant, and I don't want to compare myself as these such great names. But you need focus. You need focus.
Italian Wine Podcast. If you think you love wine as much as we do, then give us a like and a follow anywhere you get your pods.
It's not everything about tasting and about to be super skilled, to be super blind taster, because a lot of people think, all right, he is really good to make blind tasting, so he knows a lot about wine. Of course, if you are good, you have a really good tasting memory, of course, but you can taste 3 times all the wine around the world alone, and after you will not be an expert of wine. Of course, you will have tasted a lot of wines, but you have to understand, you have to study, you have to know the theory. Theory, I think, is the most important thing. With a lot of theory, you can compense a lot of talent.
You have to know the theory, you have to know the taste, but you also have to be able to communicate. I guess that is one of the main and most important roles of a sommelier. I think most people think that a sommelier goes on to work in restaurants, but in fact, there are many different things sommeliers can do. And you have some interesting projects. Tell us about what you're working on now.
So I'm working about, I do a lot of stuff, Mark. I do the main things. What I am now doing is the wine journal. And the wine journal by Eros Teboni is a rating website. Well, me and my team, we are rating a lot of different wines, of course, mostly of Italy. and in 100 points systems like Parker teach us. And we want to make something something new and something super modern, because if you take a look on the website, it's a lot of modern. We work a lot with the to make the wine more digital, and yes, you have to check a little bit the website, and it will be short, clear. We are speaking about prices, different categories from bronze to gold, but speaking about price. So uh, I don't want to say a cheap wine, but a low priced wine can achieve, of course, a lot of high points, because some of people, or the people, a lot of wine lover think, all right, the wine costs, I don't know, 100, 150, 200 euro, and then have, of course, to achieve a high points, a lot of points. But of course, we are working on price value, and
Of course, that's it. That's vital for consumers.
exactly. This, then I do a lot of education in Italy, a lot of events and tasting to increase the passion and the knowledge of people that come to me and to hear what I have to say and what I let taste.
Well, that's really important, I think, to communicate that passion, and I guess to get people really to not be frightened of wine, but to understand that wine is brings joy and
And something that I want to do is to simplify, to make the world of wine easier. Why? Because the world of wine is super, super difficult. It's complicated. It's complex. And so we are speaking now about the wine, a lot of complexity, a lot of difficult to understand it. And I am speaking about the communicator of the world and the sommeliers, we have to simplify a little bit the wine world with normal words, because sometimes you go to tastings and it's like a competition who knows more flower names and who knows more, I don't know what. And so we have to speak clearly, speak easy, and to be really concrete. And people from the super professional to the beginner have to stand up after the tasting and to say and to think, all right, I understood everything. And of course, if a professional want to know more about some wines and to go a little more inside, a little more deep on the conversation, of course we can. But everyone from the one to the last have to understand 100% everything.
I think that's a really good point, Eros. We need to make wine accessible as much as possible. And, language, trying to find descriptors for wines, so many flowers, so many minerals, all of that, it can become a barrier. But if you can communicate clearly.
Exactly. We have to speak about flowers or fruits that everyone every day can eat and try and smell, not about something really, really difficult. Because if I speak with you, Mark, about the flower what are above 1,500 meters here now in my mountains, I think
No, exactly right. Yeah, we need a common language.
exactly we will need a common language, and this is what I am trying to do. And now I am really happy because people love it and people understand it, and I hope that other communicator will join me with this method.
Yes, I think that's a very good goal. Now, we say a common language, but I imagine that you undertake tastings in many languages. How many languages do you speak?
So English, you hear my level of English.
You're speaking very well.
I am pretty happy, but of course I have to increase. But my German and Italian, there are the two languages that I know mostly, or maybe perfect.
Now, looking at the role of the sommelier in a restaurant, what do you think the most important thing is for a sommelier to do, to be able to do, to help enhance a dining experience?
So to have sommeliers have to try a lot, of different stuff, to invest a lot of time, of money, of course, to taste different stuff and to taste what other restaurants are doing, other plate, other dishes, other wines, and to be a little bit, to have a vision of 360 degrees about wine. I make an example. We are speaking about, is an example that I do this example always, but it's really, really clearly. We are speaking about fried lamb. So fried lamb, if you are thinking now to put a wine with fried lamb, you think about high acidity, of course dry. We can go for reds, we can go for whites, we can go for Riesling, we can go for, I don't know, something like Syrah, New World, or something like that. But what we tried in several restaurants where I was, to put it with ice wine of Canada. Why? Super high acidity, super sweetness. So we have a contrast between the saltiness of the lamb, the intensity of the lamb, and the sweetness, and then the fattiness of the lamb it's went really perfect with the high acidity of the wines. And of course, I will not serve a full glass, because a full glass of sweet wine with the main course is really difficult. But a half of a glass, a quarter of a glass, and then what happened? We have every time a super wow effect, and this is really important. Why? Because people come to the restaurant to make a fantastic, a fabulous experience, and not to just drink and eat something. Because if I am hungry, I am thirsty, I can stay home. I have a wonderful cellar. I can not cook so really well, but I can order some food. But if I go in a restaurant where is a sommelier, so a high-level restaurant, I want to make an incredible experience. I want to try, and sommelier have to create this experience for all the customers.
I think that's absolutely fascinating about the need to think outside of the box. It's very easy with wine to begin, to think, fish is always a white wine. Lamb, most people would pair lamb with a range of different red wines. Certainly, I'm thinking of so many Italian wines that we think goes so well with lamb. I never would have thought of a Canadian ice wine.
Actually, I don't know why people think that fish have to go with white wine and meat have to go with red wine. Because some meat I prefer a lot with white wine. Example, if I eat rabbit, so of course could be good Pinot Noir, could be Nebbiolo, could be Grenache, we can find a lot of things. But the average and the quantity of white wine that I can eat with, is example, rabbit, or with pheasant, or with something like this, there are a lot. And like bubbles, like sweet wines too. We can create our menu only with white, only with red, only with bubbles, only with sweet wines. And the world of wine is fascinating exactly because of this, because you can compare a lot of things with several and different wines, and to create, because everyone want to create the perfect match, but perfect match, come on, we're about perfection is really, really difficult to speak. And of course, if you want to compare, or if you want to put a wine in a traditional dish, example, if you go to Italy, or we can stay in Tuscany, because then everywhere we know this kind of dish, and we have a Fiorentina steak. So of course there are some red wines, of course some white wines, but you have the Fiorentina in your plate, and the different maybe like potatoes. We can have some spinaci. We can have something that come with the Fiorentina. So we have Fiorentina and 2 or 3 different things on the plate. But now the sommeliers, they are in difficult. But why? Because the modern and the gourmet cuisine, of course, it's to find the perfect wine with the plate is super, super difficult. Why? Because on the same plate, example, if we want to modern Fiorentina, you have on your plate your piece of meat, and then you have a sweet sauce, a high acidity sauce, a umami sauce. You have a green vegetable part on the plate. So in the same plate in the modern cuisine, you have 10 different kind of flavors of taste. And it's always super difficult to find something that go and something that works with everything. So the modern sommelier, he don't have easy life.
No. And I think it's really important that you reassure people who can become obsessed with finding the perfect match, that it doesn't exist, that it's not only the complexity of a dish, the sauces or whatever, it's also the personal taste of everybody.
Of course. And our the idea of the sommelier is to find, of course, something not that he like specifically, but the people and customers should like.
Right. So you're assessing in conversation, perhaps with the diner, the types of flavors, wines they like, and then steering a way towards making that match that they will enjoy. What about what are the most difficult foods to pair wines with? Are there any foods that you can't pair a wine with?
I think you can't. No. You have to be really, really careful with vegetables, of course. If you just think tomato is super, super difficult. Why? Because when it's raw, you have high acidity, saltiness. If you cook them, it's sweet and salty, and the acidity is still high. So, vegetables change a lot the taste and the aroma during the cooking process. But maybe the most difficult things to compare with wine is cheese, because cheese completely change the flavors and the texture when you are eating with a glass of wine, and the glass of wine is changing too. So I think if I have my highest difficulties when I was working as sommelier in a restaurant, it was to find the perfect wine with cheese.
Well, that's interesting, because, and I guess there's so many different types of cheese. You could have a cheese plate that has, different styles, Rhine washed, blue, soft cheeses, and all would require a different wine.
Exactly. It is like you said. And we can work with cheese example really, really well with contrast. So put in a really, really spicy cheese, something sweet. Of course, we can do like that, but contrast, you cannot always play with contrast because it's too much intensity. A whole menu with contrast combination. So you have to find some combination that want to be like an affinity combination.
Okay, balancing the whole, not just even that dish, but the whole meal, the whole experience.
Exactly.
Final question, Eros. What do you most enjoy about your work, and what are your next challenges?
So my next challenges is to find some time to rest. No, just kidding. But my next challenges are to increase the tasting numbers and to increase the quality what we can give to our audience when they come to hear what we have to say about wine. And I love the connection, because in the wine world you can learn a lot of people, a lot of different, to taste a lot of different foods, to taste a lot of different wine, to come in contact with a lot of different cultures. And this is the most fascinating part, because you can see all the world just through the wine and through tasting and through speaking about what you are loving, actually, like wine.
Well, I think that's actually a beautiful way to look at what you're doing. That wine is a doorway to culture, to enjoyment, to food and wine, to people, and to learning, constantly learning.
Yeah.
Eros, it's been a real pleasure meeting you, learning about your life as a professional sommelier. But I think most important is coming through here is as a wine communicator. You really love sharing your love of wine.
Wine is an experience. Wine is something difficult and must be experienced. So we are here for doing that.
Well, good luck with all of your exciting projects, and I hope to meet one day. All the best, and bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you to everyone.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.